In between the shadows, creeping in the night, far beyond the willows, not a soul in sight. Ghosts and monsters looking for the kill. Nobody can save you, we do it just for thrills.
Welcome to our podcast, episode 3, The Lore of Haunted Houses, with writer-producer Zack Andrews. Zack Andrews is a writer-producer known for The Houses October Built. He's an alumni of Baylor University with a degree in psychology. In addition to film, for the past 20 years, he has volunteered working alongside children with autism. Welcome, Zack. We are so happy to have you.
Hey, guys. How are you?
What's up, man?
We are good. We are good.
The Stickum Bears when she said Baylor Bears for my Baylor alumni out there.
So we are going to get all into haunted houses in this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about the lore of haunted houses. We're going to see how much you know about haunted houses, since that's kind of where you started your film career. And then we're going to get into your career as well. So Jason and I did a little bit of research on haunted houses in preparation for today's podcast, and we found out some really cool history. So I'm going to read a little bit about the history of haunted houses, and afterwards we're going to see how much of this you already knew, Zack.
Wait.
So
Hold on. Can I interrupt?
Okay, yes, go.
First interruption.
Of course.
Zack.
Yes.
Okay, but this is a pop quiz, so we can see where do you think the first haunted house was? Like, when was the first house? What's the first house? Let's see if he knows.
This is so good.
It was a JC haunted house that it's charity. So that's how it started. I don't know the year. I'm just gonna throw out a random year and say 1968.
What country do you think that haunted house started in? And it's not the US, it's not the United States.
So what's crazy is that haunted houses are not that popular outside the United States, but they're getting to be a lot more popular, like within the past decade. We can get into this later, but we actually got to speak in London at a haunted house convention, and they just wanted to soak up all the information about the United States haunted houses. And they don't do it in Halloween, they just do like random, like in the middle of April, because Halloween is an American holiday. So it's more about making just scary attractions, and they do it all year round. So, but to answer your question,
Country.
Mexico.
Wow. All right, Liani, hit him.
You actually answered it, but you might not know it.
Wait. Spill the tea.
Did I get that right? Mexico?
No, it's London.
Look at that. I should have just stuck with the story I was telling you.
It's London. Okay, so I'm going to read my little Wikipedia blurb.
Yeah.
Okay. The origins of the haunted house date back to 19th century London, when a series of illusions and attractions introduced to the public new forms of gruesome entertainment. And so you were close on year, sort of. In 1802, it was Marie Tussaud who scandalized British audiences with an exhibition of wax sculptures. When she set up a permanent London exhibition, she dubbed her grotesque collection the Chamber of Horrors, a name that is stuck to the Wax Museum to this day. At the turn of the 20th century, the closest relatives to modern haunted houses began experimenting with macabre themes. In 1950, an English fairground in Liphook, debuted one of the first ghost houses, an early type of commercial horror attraction. However, the haunted house did not become a cultural icon here in America until Walt Disney decided to build one. Disneyland's Haunted Mansion opened in 1969. So you were good with that. You said right around that time period. You were good. You were so close. 1969, nearly 2 decades after Disney first approved the project. The attraction, which was designed in the style of the Evergreen House and the Winchester Mystery House, which I have later on my list of famous haunted houses, quickly became a success. In a single day after its debut, more than 82,000 people passed through the Haunted Mansion. The attraction's centerpiece is the Grand Hall, a 90-foot-long ballroom sequence of dancing ghouls at a birthday party. So you were close. I mean, you had a lot right. I knew none of this.
And I just took my nephew there 2 months ago, and we did the Haunted Mansion. So it's fresh in my mind.
You were close on the year.
You beat me. You were close. You were close. I knew none of this. I was like, Jason and I were looking it up, and I was like, oh my God, of course it's Disney. Like, it makes sense that Disney would be the one who would have brought haunted houses here, but it's cool. But cool little history.
I mean, really, it's 1800s though. I'm not seeing. I'm reading like 1800s is when the real kickoff happened.
That's when it first started. So
Madame Toussaint, the wax museum lady, I didn't know her first name, Chamber of Heart. I mean, I kind of thought I thought it started way before that. To be honest, my guess would have been like, I don't know. Yeah, Transylvania times. I don't know, but I guess that's just a normal house. It's not even haunted yet because it needs time to be haunted.
Yeah.
It depends on the definition, right? Because if you look up Jason,
totally.
That were charity, and that was more of like the ma and pa thing. So if you're talking Disneyland, that's a different animal.
Right.
So there's
marketed it.
I might have guessed the UK because London is just, I mean, I love it, but it is kind of creepy. Like, it has that creepy old world like vibe when you're there. Like, some stuff is dark and it's rainy. So I probably would have gotten that, but everything else I would have never gotten. So you did much better than me and better than Jason. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Right.
Jack the Ripper. I mean, also
Jack
the Ripper.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. So we're gonna start with our favorite 2 or 3 film or TV shows featuring haunted houses. Well, Jason, would you like to go first, or should our guest go first?
Oh no, the guest. What? Okay. No. Let's go with the guest. You're our guest of honor.
Well, that is a good intro into why we made Houses October Built, because Bobby and I really loved horror films and Halloween and going to haunted houses and going to see a horror film and then going to a haunted house. And we kind of realized that the actual haunted house, not ghost version, but attraction version, really wasn't on the screen. And, in the past 10 years, there's Haunt, Beck and Woods did Haunt. That was kind of like the big budget, haunted house movie. But then Hell House LLC came out around the time that Houses October Built did, and that was based off a haunted house too. So really, I mean, those are the 3 movies that I know that are like centered around Halloween haunted houses. But even maybe Halloween isn't really about Halloween. Like these horror films, while we watch them, during the season, they're not specifically about haunted houses or even Halloween sometimes.
So would you expand that? Would you expand that to just haunted houses in general, like Hill House? Shirley Jackson, like the adaptation of her. Like, would you include that in your definition of haunted house movies, or you're not? That's not what.
I was more just going the attractions, like.
Yeah. Okay.
We would, when Bobby and I went to high school together, Bobby directed the House of October Built and we wrote it together. We would actually go to a horror film to set the mood and then go to a haunted house. And so when we were trying to figure out, get a movie off the ground, what can we shoot ourselves? We went back to that experience and was like, wouldn't it have been cool to see a movie about actual haunted houses and then go, not just a horror film? So
it's you know what, there's only one harm now that you're saying it that way, an attraction movie, and I can't think of any. The only one I can think of, and maybe there's 2 because there's a reboot, is Wax, which is the more of the Madame Toussaint's version of the attraction.
Or House of Wax. Wait, House of Wax with like Paris Hilton.
There's the Paris Hilton.
Yeah, right? Okay.
And then there's also
which was brilliant marketing. They marketed that movie saying "See Paris Hilton die." It's like the height of her. Paris Hilton die.
There's a 80s, there's a really bad 80s movie that is a wax of horror thing also. And that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the only other ones I can think of.
Now I'm like, now you've got me challenged because we were just thinking like movies about haunted houses, but when you put the attraction spin on it, I agree with you. Like there's really, the wax, the House of Wax or whatever with Paris Hilton, and there was like, it was like all those 90s people were in it, like all the attractive 90s people. And I don't know that I can think of anything else that was like attraction based. Yeah. I mean, would you consider, okay, so let me, one more thing. Would you consider in your.
Feels that way now because the face has become.
Oh, the new one.
Ripping the chains, is the way they get you out front. So it has become that. But the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not about a Halloween haunted house.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you, okay, here's a question. Would you include in your definition, what about if it's like, because Shirley Jackson was this, if the house itself, the haunted house, so it's not Halloween, so take the Halloween aspect out, but the haunted house is the attraction. So I do know in the Shirley Jackson House on Haunted Hill, it was all these scientists, right, that were invited to go do research in the haunted house. And it was, the haunted house itself was like an attraction. Would you consider that, or it was your definition like has to be Halloween, or like?
I mean, the inspiration for the movie was definitely around Halloween. I mean, one of actually my favorite, call it haunted house with that definition, is the movie House 2. That was one of my favorite movies growing up. It was
House 2 though, but the like straight up comedy.
Yeah,
I love that one, and it's so. Wait, wasn't American Werewolf in London guy in that movie? Great actor. He's actually working now a lot. Or Zach Gallagher. Is it Zach Gallagher from Gremlins? There's somebody in that movie.
I probably haven't rewatched it in a decade.
Yeah.
Oh, now I feel like I'm going to.
It's such a.
I just remember loving House 2 when I was, 12 years old.
It's so weird.
I don't think I ever saw it.
Bill Maher is in that. So crazy.
What about, okay, wait, I'm like digging deep here. Okay, so what about, I actually just saw this on Amazon Prime. It's called like Night of the Demons. It was like another like 90s. It had the girl from American Pie, the one with the accent, like takes her clothes off. She's in it. Yeah, there's like a bunch of people like that. And it's on Halloween, I'm almost positive. And they go to like this haunted house to like have fun or whatever.
Is it?
So that's close.
No, not it. What they call
No,
it?
it's called Night of the Demons, or like Night of the Demon.
I've seen that. I remember her popping up.
So they are like an attraction sort of thing. It is Halloween.
Trick or treating, right? Like, aren't they going? People, it's like. No,
I kind of fast forwarded it. It was like cheesy, but they wind up at a house. I remember that they're like throwing a party at a house. It is like a haunted house. They're daring each other to go into it, and it is on Halloween. Does it count? Does it kind of count? Or
well, all of it counts, because I think we're talking about haunted house attractions.
So an attraction on Halloween.
Haunted house movies that are like about ghosts that still live in that house. So what kind of haunted house non-attraction movie is okay,
that's good.
You know what I mean?
That's a good one, Zach. What do you like? What haunted house movies that are not attractions?
I mean, if you had to go ghost stuff, I like The Conjuring. I like the universe of The Conjuring. But Insidious to me is the house is haunted because they're there. I mean, that's one of the scariest to me. I don't know if you guys have seen Insidious, but that's because I have to watch these movies almost. I mean, I enjoy them, but I almost have to watch them as homework. And I've seen so many of them, kind of desensitized. But the first Insidious, I remember watching by myself. It was 3 a.m, and I was just watching it like, I need to watch this horror movie, this new, thing. And when the record player started playing Tiptoe by the Window, and there was a shadow that went by, I turned it off and I went, I can watch this movie tomorrow morning with coffee. When I don't need to do this. That's rare. So rare for me to have to turn something off like a little baby.
That's rare because I barely get scared anymore from a horror movie, but I'll watch it. Like you said, like we just dissect it a little bit for homework. But those movies did scare the crap out of me. And Conjuring was the first movie I had seen in the horror genre for a while, because I was on hiatus. I was like not watching horror. I was like anti-horror around the Saw and Hostel like revenge time. I wasn't really into stuff. And when I saw Insidious and all those, and I was just like blown away by every piece of that story. And I was like, okay, I'm truly scared. So yeah, they're. It's just amazing what they've been able to do.
Would those be your 2 or 3 also, Jason? If you guys pick 2 or 3 favorite haunted
house?
Yeah.
Kind of old school. I'm kind of boring. Like I feel like Amityville still probably doesn't hold water now, but the impact it made on me, like Amityville, the original, was just the all-time horror haunted house movie for me, because it was a character. It was like looking at you, and that tripped me out. I don't think that young, like a house can look at you. It like blew my mind. And then, and it blew my mind that like this really wholesome family could like be swindled by these demons. And I was like, it just, the whole thing like just really tripped me out. So that actually is in my top ones. Haunted houses. Shoot. I might go Conjuring. I think I would throw Conjuring in there. And I don't know if I have a third one. I have to think about that. I don't know if I have a third one.
So believe it or not, I like love everything horror, and I don't often get scared, but there's like 2 subgenres I don't mess with, and it's haunted houses and demons are the 2 that like terrify me. So I actually have not seen either one, Sinister or The Conjuring, because I just know that I won't be able to sleep. I accidentally watched Oculus because my stepdaughter was in town and she loves horror movies and she wanted to hang out. So we watched it, and it was, Jason knows this, I'm like the biggest Mike Flanagan fan. I think he's just brilliant. And that was one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's so terrifying. There's so many good moments where I like that one. I almost turned off. Like my stepdaughter is like never scared, and she slept in my bed that night. So we were both pretty terrified. So I would definitely say Oculus, because also it has mirrors, which I hate. So mirrors and demons and haunted houses, kind of all 3 in the same movie. But then growing up, Poltergeist for sure, and Amityville. Like I did see them, and they're Poltergeist for sure, phenomenal movies. But I try not to, like if I can help it, I try not to watch them. Of course, I've seen Zack's movies, which are amazing, and didn't like scare me, but not in the same way, because it's not. I can watch like when it's a travel thing and you're like in someone else's haunted house. I can't watch it when it's like the haunted house that you actually live in, because I think it's like gonna happen to me in my house. So like the movie was scary, but it's different because it's like you're traveling to someone else's haunted house. For some reason I rationalize.
Well, you just don't. You're not supposed to. But if it's your house, you don't have a choice.
Yes. That's exactly, you hit it. That's exactly right.
I have 2 more to add to our list for our viewers, who our viewers can get a nice spectrum of different times. Okay. So, this is a sleeper, y'all. Skeleton Keys. Skeleton.
Oh my God, I just saw it. No, shut up. I never seen it when it came out. I just saw it this week because
how good
I love Get Out. So it was really good, but I love Get Out. Like Jordan Peele's another one I'm obsessed with. And I was reading, I get like hooked on these weird Reddit rabbit holes. I go down them and read history of movie making and whatever. And someone was saying, Get Out was like, I totally guessed it from the very beginning. I knew exactly what was happening. because I saw Skeleton Key,
Oh.
which made me, I was like, wait, what happened in Skeleton Key? So
They're
yeah,
not
it's really
wrong.
good. And
They're
I
not
love
wrong. It's
her.
really good. Yeah, and it's just a fun
It's a good
one.
one.
Beetlejuice, guys. Beetlejuice is a haunted house movie.
Agreed. Beetlejuice is
Right?
That's a great one.
It's kind of
where you on my
fun
screen?
one.
I steal that from you, and I take Beetlejuice.
Let's all take it, right? We got to take a knee on that. Beetlejuice.
And I may say one that you're going to steal, because what if we expanded it to haunted hotels?
Ooh.
Oh, well, okay, yes.
Let's take it.
Well,
Let's go.
Jason has that on his list.
Okay.
Yeah, what haunted hotel movie?
That would also lead us into talking about books, because The Shining is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And it's the first horror book that I ever read.
Okay, now we're talking my language. Yes, I love Stephen King. It was his birthday, yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago.
You
have an Overlook Hotel mug.
From the Overlook, I went to the location in
that's so
Oregon.
cool.
Horror humble brag. That's a horror humble brag. Hashtag horror humble brag.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Zach, that was good.
It's my holy grail.
Then you can do it, right? Like, you didn't just go, hey, look at my mug. I mean, I said it. I didn't know what what your coffee mug looked like.
I was going to show this later, but yeah, that's the holy grail of movies for me. Shining is in my top 3 of just films, period. I actually can't talk about it because I will not stop talking. So I'll just stop now.
Well, fun fact. Did you know that Mike Flanagan did the sequel? And did you know that Stephen King actually hated Stanley Kubrick's The Shining? Hated it. Was one of his absolute least favorite.
How do you feel about that, Zach? How do you feel about that? Do you think that's right? That Stephen King has a...
So it's crazy, but I was literally in 3rd grade when I read The Shining. And I remember always walking up and down the Blockbuster aisles, and I wasn't allowed to rent horror movies. But I have those posters still in my head. And I remember really wanting to watch those movies. And my mom said that I couldn't, but if I wanted to read a book, I could. And so I ended up, I think, not looking back, I don't know if that was the best decision, but I remember just I was allowed to experience horror because I think she was like, well, if he'll read this big ass book, that's getting him to read. So I remember, I was the kid in the movie with the sheet over his head and the flashlight reading The Shining. And so I guess maybe I was too young. I wouldn't imagine that anytime you write a book, it's so much more dense than the movie can be. And so I think it's just, especially a book of that size, it's so hard to capture that. And so I think most people that probably have seen the movie have not read the book, and the movie's incredible. But if you are a book loyalist, you're going to just nitpick it. And especially when you're not only a book loyalist, but the book's author, I can see how maybe you wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that, and I'm probably butchering this, no pun intended, is that Stephen King was battling his own alcoholism.
It's addiction. I listened to an interview with him.
Yeah. And he's actually, I feel like he's more butthurt because he was doing that to kind of he stopped alcoholism to love his family again, right? And to be a complete person. And the ending of that movie, as we know, is a complete disgrace to all the hard work that alcoholic Stephen King did in his own life. So he sees that movie and he's like, bitch, I fucking but I came and I did it right, and now y'all disgrace me out here. So I think that's how Stephen King, why he does not like that version.
I can confirm that is 100% accurate because I listened to a podcast that he did with Eli Roth, and that's exactly what he said. That it was because it was one of the most personal books he'd ever written because it was about his own battle with addiction and basically coming clean for his family, and then he hated how the character was demonized.
I'd be mad too, though. I'd be mad.
Yeah, but I think it's a great movie. I totally agree. I thought it's good.
Happy birthday, Stephen!
And I love that you named that one. Yesterday. Okay, so that segues into books. So That was a really good one. I'm gonna go with Shirley Jackson, Haunting the Hill House. That's all that I can think of. Oh, I think Rebecca. I don't know if that's like a haunted house. Oh, also Mexican Gothic. That was really good, and that's a haunted house movie. Okay, those are mine.
I recently read Ski Weekend, and that was good as well.
That was good. That was
good, but no haunted house.
That was a haunted ski resort. I don't know.
Thanks for the shout out, though. I love that. Any
cool.
other books, Jason? Any for you?
I probably have to go with the same, like The Shining is got to be the best horror haunted house book I've read. I've read a lot of haunted horror, but not haunted house. Yeah, I actually don't think I've read a lot of haunted house books. Sad to say.
Okay, so let's go into really quickly any favorite real life haunted houses. And Zach, we're gonna let you, because you've probably done a ton of this research for your movie. If there's any that you guys visited during filming or thought of or used as like an inspiration, if there's like one or two famous haunted houses, you want to tell us about them? I have a few that we pulled off of Google as well. And then we're going to get into you and go in depth into like your career and how you got into film. But first, any haunted houses our listeners should know about, especially with the Halloween season coming up, that they might want to go visit themselves?
Well, it's funny because in every interview we've ever done, that question is always asked. And last year we actually started the Haunt Society. So if you go to www.hauntsociety.com, you can find all of the haunted houses all across the country that we are vouching for and saying that if you are in a certain state, this is where you should go. There are too many to list, but if you go to that website, it's by invitation only. Bobby and I started it literally to answer this question, so that wherever you were in the country, you could go to kind of an official Houses October Built verified haunted house.
So cool.
That is so cool. Yeah.
I knew you would know. I knew you would have an answer to this.
Can our audience get like access if they Google, if you
go to hauntsociety.com, you can it's they're featured haunts, so you'll be able to see.
I think it's about like private list. I thought you VIP this thing. Anybody can go on there.
That is the VIP list is on hauntsociety.com. And we are actually, since this isn't airing today, I can say that we are going to be doing Rec Room's virtual reality haunted house. We're announcing that tomorrow. So
oh, how cool.
Yeah, we are the official haunted house. Haunt Society is sponsoring the official haunted house of Rec Room. And if you don't know what Rec Room is, it's a virtual reality space where 30 million people play this game, and you go into it and you do all these different adventures, and people build their own rooms and you get to experience them. And we have done the walkthrough of the haunted house, and it is going to be awesome.
Wow.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
Yeah. You gotta
what's the website, or where do people go if they want to participate in this? Can you say that?
Yeah, it's Rec Room. So it's like if you have a virtual reality headset, Rec Room is an app. So you download the app and then you're just in the virtual reality space. So it's kind of hard to understand. I'm getting myself up to speed as well, but you have like your avatar when you move your
so cool.
Yeah, it's and some of the stuff is really scary. Not just Rec Room, but just the things that experiences, like you can kind of be immersed in a movie where you're just 360 things are happening to you, or you can be in a game and they're purposefully, kind of jumping at you. Like, it's like you are in it. This will blow. I mean, if you think like a PlayStation 5 Resident Evil is scary, this will blow your mind.
I love it. That's so cool.
That's cool.
Okay, from Haunt Society, is there like one, do you have like a top haunted house that you can share?
I'll give a shout out to Cutting Edge. It's the Guinness Book of World Records longest walkthrough haunted house. And Todd James is the owner, and he opened his doors to let us film the original movie there before we had done anything. So he really just trusted me and I, and we have a long relationship with him, and really appreciated. I mean, he had this massive, his $1 million business, that he let us come, unproven filmmakers, and shoot there. And he's just been really supportive. And the cool thing about Cutting Edge too is that it's an experience. It's not just go through the haunted house. I mean, it takes over an hour to go through. The fact that there's a long line to get in is actually fun because there's a band, there's skeletons like full skeletons are in a marching band. He's got a DJ. Like it's just a full experience. It's a whole night. It's a neat thing.
What state is that in?
It's in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, okay, cool. My folks are in Dallas. I can
get on over
to Fort Worth.
Well, and that's where Zach's also, and I lived in Dallas for a long time too.
Oh, okay.
We got Texas roots on this
Yep.
on this podcast. Okay, so let me speed real quick and tell me if any of these are the ones that we found. So tell us if any of these. So we have the House of Death in New York, Greenwich. We have the Winchester House, the Lizzie Borden House, the Bell Witch Cave in Tennessee, which I don't know, just sounds so cool. I think I just like the name. And then Jason mentioned the Hotel Cecil in LA, which I know there's like a really good documentary on Netflix about that. And then Zach, I'm sure you know about the Driscoll in Austin. It's supposedly haunted, but it's where everyone stays for South by Southwest. And I've never seen a ghost there, and I've been multiple times, but
agree.
I figured I would mention it.
I've stayed at the Driscoll, didn't see a ghost. I've never seen a ghost.
You've never seen a ghost ever? Are you claiming?
No, just at the Driscoll. But there's some rumor. There's a rumor that it's haunted.
I remember we stayed there in college for an out-of-town event, and that was a whole thing. But I think a lot of the places you're naming are haunted houses, as in spirit haunted houses, and I'm
not attractions.
Not attractions
again. So I mean, there's literally in every state there. Blood Manor has been in New York, has been going for 30 years. I mean, the places have really been they're institutions of their town. And it's crazy how you think about a haunted house thinking like, oh, the people that work there, and it's kind of a shady type of thing. And it's one of the most family atmospheres I've ever seen. Every haunted house, the owner is just if it's father, mother, grandmother type figure, and then everybody that works there is really a family. More so than a normal working environment, like working at a fast food chain or a clothing line. This is like everyone is so passionate about this line of work that it's really a bond, and everybody's got each other's back, and it's a neat thing to see.
Almost like a bed and breakfast kind of a vibe, or
I mean, I can see that, where it's like coming together. I mean, they're not paying people very much. Sometimes they're not paying them at all. It can be volunteers, but it's people of all lines of work too. It's we met people that are doctors, people that ride horses, they're special forces, nurses. I mean, they say that it just gets in your blood, and then you just want to be a hunter. So
be a hunter. Okay.
It's got to be like the kind of like a lower, easier way to do like a carnival, like carnival people. Carnival people.
Yeah.
They breathe a certain type of air, and they bond, and they're all different. And they just like what they like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's get into Zach's career a little bit as we start to wind down the podcast. So Zach, can you tell us, because you've had such a cool, interesting career coming up with like all the indie paths and the way that you got the first movie made. Can you tell us a little bit about like why you got into filmmaking, how kind of you made your first movie, and why horror movies?
Well, Bobby and I had been writing for 10 years and just getting, calls and getting so close, 8 different agents and producers and production companies, and it would just fall apart at the last second. And so we finally said, we've been doing this for a decade. We got to get something on screen. So we came up with the idea and wrote a storyline around that, knowing that we could shoot at $1 million sets and fund it ourselves. And then Jason was talking to me earlier. He said when he watched The House of October Bell, he was like, "Well, was it real? Like, what? Wait, like, what
yeah.
was real?"
I was fully prepared for. I know what's gonna be happening, you know what I mean? Because that's what we do with all horror movies, But I couldn't tell who was who, on a couple of these characters. So spill the beans, man.
Yeah. That's exactly what we wanted. In fact, when Steven Schneider, who found Paranormal Activity, and he found House of Octoberville, and he called me and he said, "I just saw your movie. I'm really impressed by it, and I would like to take it out and make it big." And I have to tell you, what struck me was this movie is real until it isn't, and I don't know when that changed, but somewhere along the line in the story, it did, because you even go back to Blair Witch, which obviously at the time was an amazing marketing campaign and really fooled everybody, but it was fake from frame one. There's nothing real about that movie. All the interviews are fake, everything's fake. We wanted to do the opposite and say, let's take the attitude that we're making a haunted house documentary, and what would we do? We would go to these places, we would film the real owners, the real actors, and then we just wove our storyline into the actual documentary, so that when we decided to then make it fictionalized, we could, instead of starting from frame one with everything scripted.
It's so cool. It's such a cool approach, and that's why I think it looks so authentic. Like Jason says, like you really can't tell.
We wanted kids to take out their phone and be like, "Oh, okay, what is this? Where is this place that they invented?" And then Google it and see that it has a website and that they can actually go there. And they'd be like,
I love it.
This doesn't make sense. Like, this must be real.
I feel like it's even more on trend of like where we are now. Like, because people have, I think of shows like, what's the Prankers show? Like the three guys who do all the pranking. And, or just if you just like watch like TikTok culture and like man on the street culture. Like, we're so smart now about how we foil people and how we try to put a spin on pranks and, scaring people. And we're all pretty savvy. But even in that, like, I don't see many movies that actually blend the two, where you can't clearly, almost every movie I can think of, you clearly know when the change is. But in yours, you can't see the change and you don't know when it happens. And so I think that's really cool,
Yeah, I mean, the storyline lent itself to that, and we're at Rise Haunted House in Louisiana playing zombie paintball, and we're just really playing zombie paintball. And then we just have a character that we may coach a little bit to say, hey, maybe just mention the blue skeleton, and then that character just says that. So that keeps the narrative going along the line with the authentic being there, real people, real places.
And I'm just always so inspired by your story and the fact that like you finally just said, screw it, I'm going to green light myself. I just think that's for anyone listening who's an artist, a creator, whatever, like there's so many doors and hoops you have to jump through. I love that you just got to a point in your career where you're like, I'm not jumping through hoops anymore. Like, I'm just going to do this. And it was such a huge success. So I love that part of your story. Every time we talk about it, I get excited because I think about it from my own life. I love that you went ahead and did that. What is next for you in your career? Is there anything you can share with us?
Yeah, we've got we're actually super busy. We're shooting a movie in Prague.
That's good.
In Prague in March that we're producers on, and then which is it's going to be it's contained, but it's going to be very visual. That's all I can say, and it's got some social media elements. We've got a movie with this company, Welcome Villain, that is a newer company. We're so excited to work with them. It's a really a good group of guys that worked in the studio system, and they want to be very filmmaker friendly because they saw, that they might have handled the marketing part of a movie, and did big movies, and now have said, what can we take from that and know how to market? We know how to market movies, but then we got to find filmmakers that we like and admire. And so we get a lot of the political stuff out of the way, and some of the things that tie your hands with the studio system. And they got funding, and they said, we're just going to work with people we want to work with, and let's go make movies. So we're going to be shooting that in February. So we are just super busy.
You guys are rocking and rolling, and the rec.
I like the Prague thing. That's cool. If you need a little brown bellboy,
Prague is a spooky. Prague is fun, but it also can be like a spooky.
I'm dying.
Place. It's a cool setting.
Beautiful.
it's fun. Like it's party, but it's also kind of dark. Okay, Jason, do you want to do the JFT Freaky 5?
JFT,
do you want to do it?
First time, you're the first person to hear our JFT Freaky 5s.
Right.
I'm excited to like.
So it's like fast.
Lightning
it's like
round.
the first thing that comes. Lightning round, first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
We do it with all our guests, but you're the first. You're the test guinea pig or whatever.
First.
No, I don't believe in test guinea pigs because I'm against animal cruelty. So you're just the test human.
Yeah, I'm not a test.
I only believe in torturing humans.
Correct.
Okay, here we go. You ready for this?
All right.
Your gateway movie or book intro into horror.
Perfect. The Shining in third grade.
Okay. Number 2. What are you currently inspired by in the horror world right now? Anything.
I think James Wan. I just always like, to me, he's just the master. It's not that there's like that right this second, but he is anything. He's the ultimate person I just trust. Like I love M. Night Shyamalan too. I love Jordan Peele. I think they take big swings, and I love that. But it just, for me, James Wan takes big swings too, and just doesn't miss ever on anything. It's like everything is just always a home run.
All right. Favorite number 3. Favorite monster.
Jaws. Bruce.
Call him by his
That's his nickname.
Call him by his real name. All right.
So his name's Bruce because it's Steven Spielberg's lawyer.
I didn't know that.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite horror movie trope. Girl falls down in the woods after getting chased. Any
I guess what's funny, this is a weird one because it's like the go somewhere you're not supposed to go is like the biggest eye roll one to me. It's like, oh, come on, or separate yourself. Like, okay, the 3 of us should go in opposite directions, but I think you have to do that in storytelling. So I'll forgive it, but it's my biggest eye roll one.
What's the one that gives you a little giggle though? Like it's bad, but you don't care.
I actually like the more of the jump scare fake, which they do a lot with music now too. It's like set me up with the trope, and then don't give it to me. So then I go, oh, that wasn't it. I thought I was expecting what I'm always expecting.
Yeah.
Give me that 5 or 10 seconds to breathe, and then hit me with it. So
that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Okay, and number 5 of the JFT Freaky 5s, all-time horror hero or Shiro or Zero.
Yeah, it would be it'd be a heroine because I would have to go Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy Thompson.
Oh, it's so good. That's a great one. I love her.
Langenkamp.
She's coming back to the screen. She's gonna be in the mid again. I just be like Mike Flanagan's like little cheerleader, but she's gonna be in the Midnight Club. It's my favorite. Christopher Pike's my favorite author ever, and Flanagan is adapting the Midnight Club. It's like the first big Christopher Pike adaptation, and Heather Langenkamp is gonna be in it. So
she's probably my first horror movie crush, which I think
she's awesome.
Should put that into our 55s, but I don't know. But yeah, she was like I was like crushing Heather Langenkamp.
She's awesome. Well, Zach, you have been an amazing guest. We have learned so much more than we ever thought we could ever know about haunted houses. And now I feel like I have some fun stuff to do for Halloween. I'm definitely going to check out the Haunt Society and see if there's something cool to do maybe in San Francisco.
Sure.
Jason, any final words?
No. I mean, just keep us in the loop with all the stuff that's going on, and so we can share it with our guests and our audiences and stuff, and we're ready to see it. We're ready to be confused again by your casting choices.
And Zach, is there anything that you want our guests before we sign out? Anything you want them to check you out on? Like, do you want people to find you on social media? Do you want people to go to the Haunt Society? Where would you direct our listeners?
You can follow me at Zack Andrews 13, just ZACK, and then Andrews 13. I'm always posting, especially it's about to get intense with some Halloween posting and haunted house attraction posting. I get a little down like the summer, not quite as active, but I assure you that I'm getting raring back up with content. So if you want to know about our projects and just checking out haunted house stuff, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And that's it. And we're done.
And that's it.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Do it just for thrill.